Bryce Harper made Hunter Strickland mad on a baseball field. Strickland took revenge on a baseball field 3 years later. That long wait only aged the beef, and the beef fed a huge brawl. Baseball's foundation, the interaction between pitcher and batter, leaves room for both crime and punishment. Break an unwritten rule, receive an unofficial penalty. The story of Bryce Harper and Hunter Strickland both epitomizes this dynamic and stretches it to the extreme. Harper first encountered Strickland on October 3, 2014. Game 1 of the NLDS between the Washington Nationals and the San Francisco Giants. As far as I can tell, these people had never met before that night, so let's do some belated introductions. Hunter Strickland had a long road to the majors. He was picked 564th in the 2007 MLB draft. After pitching in multiple minor league systems and undergoing multiple arm surgeries, Strickland finally debuted for the Giants late in the 2014 season. The rookie pitcher made his first ever playoff relief appearance a month later in Game 1 of the NLDS. Strickland came in to protect San Francisco's 2-0 sixth-inning lead and started strong, getting out of a bases-loaded situation by striking out his first batter with a blazing 100-mile-per-hour fastball. The second batter Strickland faced in the bottom of the seventh was Bryce Harper. Harper is 4 years younger than Strickland, but by this point had already graduated from super-hyped prospect to first pick in the 2010 draft to Rookie of the Year to All-Star, one of the faces of baseball. So yeah, that's a tough spot. And on the 8th pitch of Strickland's postseason career, Harper launched a fastball into outer space, threatening San Francisco's lead. Soon thereafter, Strickland gave up another solo homer and got pulled. Lucky for him, the Giants held on to win. A pretty rough first playoff outing, but Strickland expressed unwavering confidence. Would he keep throwing fastballs to sluggers like Harper? For sure. I would throw the same pitch again and see what happens. And I just have to point out this part too. Asked about missing his targets, Strickland said, "I'm not out there to hit a gnat," which gave us this punny, prescient joke from a DC reporter. Good thing he didn't hit a gnat with no G, lest he start a bench-clearing brawl. Yeah, good thing he didn't do that, and I assume never will. Anyway, Strickland next faced Harper in Game 4 of that series. Similar situation. Strickland was on the mound to protect a lead, but this pitch wasn't going to do that. Harper dunked that baby into McCovey Cove. Harper watched the ball fly, then took his trot with a little extra zest, staring down Strickland as he rounded the bases. Back in the dugout, Harper kept hollering in Strickland's direction. The Giants held on to win the game and series anyway. Afterward, Harper defended his actions. "It's a 2-1 game in the 7th and I hit a homer. Of course I'm going to go crazy. It didn't even end up mattering, so who cares?" When asked about Harper's theatrics, Strickland acted like he hadn't noticed, but sounded eager to address them in person. He was fired up and couldn't wait to face Harper again. The Giants went on to win the World Series. Hunter Strickland had way bigger stuff going on that October, but in Game 4 of the NLDS, he'd witnessed an unwritten rule infraction, and he wasn't going to forget it. See, baseball people of a certain school frown upon post-homer showmanship. Bryce Harper is not one of those people. Long after that NLDS, in a 2016 interview with ESPN magazine, Harper made his case. Baseball's tired because you can't express yourself like people in other sports do. Batters should have fun, and pitchers too. They should pump their fists on the mound. Harper would be fine with that. Strickland responded, "I don't think it's my place to go against the rules. It's America's pastime. It's got history. It's not my place to judge the rules." These aren't actual rules, but point taken. In any case, this little media back and forth was the most interactions Strickland and Harper shared for a while. In the 2015 and 2016 seasons, Strickland pitched against the Nationals plenty, but thanks to fate and the Washington batting order, never faced Harper. Until May 29, 2017. The Nationals visited San Francisco. Strickland took the mound in the 8th inning, and later that inning, stared down Harper in the batter's box. Was Strickland gonna try something? Pitchers have been known to bean batters who hurt their feelings by breaking an unwritten rule. But it had been almost 3 years. Did Strickland really still hold a grudge? Harper had a guess. On a Barstool podcast in 2020, Harper recounted telling teammate Jason Worth to be ready for a fight because if Strickland hit him with a pitch, he was going. And indeed, Strickland delivered a fastball into Harper's hip, and Harper went. First, Harper chucked his helmet at a wildly oblique angle you would not expect from someone who throws for a living. Then, our two beef-tagonists threw some serious punches at each other, and then everyone piled on. A couple things to note. This is San Francisco's Mike Morse, a former Nats teammate of Harper's, intervening early and immediately getting decked, and then someone falls on his head. This is star Giants catcher Buster Posey kinda just spectating the fight his battery mate started. And here are several other Giants dragging Strickland, kicking and screaming off the field. The baseball aftermath was suspensions for Harper and Strickland. The beef aftermath was interesting. Harper sounded amazed that Strickland held a grudge that long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, go on a baseball field and try to fight somebody, and especially when it's someone that it's in the past. It's so in the past that it's not even relevant anymore.
And the Giants won the 2014 World Series. Who cares what happened in the first round of the playoffs? You got a ring. When asked about his intent, Strickland played dumb.
What was your intent there with that pitch? To go inside. Obviously I've left the ball over the plate a couple of times to him, and he's taken advantage of that. So just mostly go inside, and obviously I got it in a little bit too far.
Asked about the homers 3 years ago, he did the same thing.
I can see how that kind of stands in people's minds, but that's the past.
Harper was absolutely sure he'd been beaned intentionally. But he also said, and has maintained, that he respected Strickland's decision to throw at his body and start a fight as opposed to throwing at his head. Only in the ritualistic pseudo-justice system of baseball does that make sense, but okay. Meanwhile, Strickland's people didn't exactly rally in his defense. Giants manager Bruce Bochy said, "We're trying to win ball games," and implied he'd given his pitcher a talking to. Posey, who as the catcher would typically be the first to intervene, did his best to excuse himself for not having done that.
Yeah, there's some big guys tumbling around on the ground. You see Mike Morse is about as big as they come, and he was getting knocked around like a pinball, so it's a little dangerous to get in there sometimes.
You won't find anything close to vocal support for Strickland inflaming that beef. And it had one big repercussion. In that collision, Morse suffered a concussion that would ultimately end his career. It took a few months, but Strickland eventually owned up to the beaning being a mistake, something he regretted. When the two players faced off in 2018, the DC crowd booed Strickland a bit. Harper grounded out without any fireworks. The beef was over, but it did have a funny postscript. In 2019, Harper joined the Phillies, ending a 7-year stint in Washington that brought him plenty of acclaim but no deep playoff success. A few months later, a trade put Strickland in DC. When the Phillies visited in September, Harper pinch hit and crushed his third home run in 5 tries against Strickland. A month after that, the Nationals won the World Series. Strickland's second ring came with the team against whom he'd exacted revenge 2 years prior because of a grudge from 5 years prior. So yeah, what do we take away from this story? Well, we learned that beef can go dormant for quite a while without losing its flavor. We learned that before you stir up beef on the field, you might want to make sure your teammates have your back. We learned that unwritten rules and their enforcement offer a strange, ancient arena for playing out feuds. Most of all, the beef between Hunter Strickland and Bryce Harper reminds us that baseball is so weird. Thanks so much for watching Beef History. If you want to see some more baseball beef, check out one of these, and don't forget to subscribe to SB Nation for even more good stuff.